Welcome back everyone, it's Charlie. This will be my full Euphoria Season 3 Episode 1 video. There were a whole bunch of references, WTF moments, so we will break it all down. Absolutely cannot wait to see what terrible things they do to each other and to themselves this season. HBO is actually using these episodes as the lead-in for House of the Dragon Season 3 episodes later this summer, so you make that old Game of Thrones joke from back in the day, a show all about titties and dragons, except with a show about Euphoria, it's more about titties and drugs. The title of the episode is On Delay, a reference to the common Mexican-Spanish interjection meaning come on, hurry up, or okay, understood. In the episode, they use it as a metaphor for Rue's new life as a mule as she goes back and forth to Mexico and tries to hurry up and move to the next part of her life. All the different characters since high school are still kind of caught in between both worlds in trying to move on to the next stage in their lives. If you watch the episode on HBO proper or HBO Max and you're not sailing the seas, before the episode started, they had a memorial card for Eric Dane, who passed away recently, but he had already filmed all of the scenes for Season 3, which is why you will see him later this season. They also had a special recap to remind everyone what happened since Season 2, because it has been 4 years in real life since Season 2, and in the context of the episode, they explain it's been about 4 years since they graduated high school. Mostly the reason why it took so long for them to actually release Season 3 is a combination of all the different actors getting too famous and too busy doing other big movies, like Zendaya was busy with Spider-Man Brand New Day, and she just filmed Dune Part 3, I just did a trailer video for both of those. All the other actors also doing really big movies, blowing up really big in Hollywood right now. And after Season 2, there was a really big strike in Hollywood. A lot of creators were on strike, basically pausing all production for a good long while. The actual opening scene starts with Rue explaining the time jump since the end of Season 2, their high school graduation, what has happened to everyone since then, and as you would guess, it's mostly bad news for pretty much everybody, not great at the best. Like, the best anybody is doing is not so hot. But at least a couple of the characters do have pretty decent jobs, even though they're getting paid like crap. So you can let me know in the comments, of all the different characters that we've met so far on the show, who do you think is doing the best post-high school? Because at least right now, if things work out for Cassie, she's probably going to be the richest of all of them because of her OnlyFans. Seriously, people earn so much money doing that, but she can also use that extra cash that she's earning to pay for all the therapy she's going to need for starting the OnlyFans. But to be fair, it sounds like all the characters all need a lot of therapy. When we meet her, she's actually in Mexico in the middle of a drug run because she's become a mule. She hasn't been able to kick her addiction, and because of what happened with her debt to Elordie, she has now been forced to do this on the regular. They mostly use this for a combination of like a couple really interesting twists and a lot of comedy too. They use a lot of the camera work here, the way they frame things, and the way that she drives the car to sort of imply the way her life is going right now. Like the chaotic movement of the car and the camera are meant to be indicative of her life being so chaotic right now. She pays the cartel to help her get across the border, hilariously getting stuck at the top, also meant to be an ironic metaphor about her life at the moment, like her life is stuck between two worlds, between drugs and a brighter future, teetering back and forth, which they pay off at the end of the episode when she meets Alamo, and seemingly like she thinks, at least, that she's going to jump into another line of work. We will see how that goes. Don't worry, we'll unpack that when we get to that part of the episode. Because Alamo is anything but squeaky clean, like he is definitely involved in some really shady stuff. And for the most part, Rue's character, Zendaya's character on the show, has been someone who's just gone from the frying pan into the fire each time. So even though it does kind of seem like her life is getting better, like she actually makes a positive change at the end of the episode, getting hired for the side job by Alamo, it actually is probably going to wind up being worse down the road.
It's gonna be great.
But they are not subtle about this imagery at all. She's walking a metaphorical and almost literal tightrope here at the beginning of the episode, balancing trying to escape to a better life. Also love the way that she bails on Lori's car and just leaves it on top of the border fence, and the bird helps balance it out so that it does not fall off. You can let me know how long you think that car is going to sit on top of that fence before somebody pushes it off. They reveal she's returning to Texas with a fresh load of goods to sell, so to speak, passes out in a nearby barn, and love how casual she is about the situation when the little girl wakes her up. Like, both she and the little girl treat it like it's a totally normal kind of thing. Like, you want some milk? Oh, great milk. This tastes like the best milk that I've ever had. I think the joke about the milk tasting so good to her is both because she was so thirsty, like she was about to die of thirst and of hunger, but also the idea that it's unprocessed, like it's not store-bought milk with a whole bunch of chemicals in it. They actually use this entire sequence here with her meeting the family and it seeming so positive compared to the very toxic life that she's been leading that she actually really wants to go back to that. Like it sounds like she does genuinely want to actually go back to that place. They mostly treat this dinner scene comedically, like she gives them the fake name, Ruby lies telling them that she was investigating the drug trade in Mexico, sticking out like a sore thumb. She's not religious at all, at least at this point in the episode, but it does sound like she genuinely believes in God by the end of the episode. I do kind of think when she was talking to Alamo in that moment, even though she was speaking as fast as possible to try and save her own life, she did start to genuinely believe in God. But the whole reason why she didn't bail on the family the minute that she got the milk is because she hadn't eaten in so long and she's dying of hunger, so it's basically a free meal situation. She's just like sitting through this and trying to be as pleasant as possible to get the free meal. She leaves promising to send them her article when it's published, which is totally not fake and definitely will probably get published at some point, but please don't ask when it's going to get published. Maybe they'll pay off the bit at the end of the season when she does publish some kind of article and does send them a copy of it. She also lays it on real thick with them too, implying that she has problems with communists at college is a way to explain why they might never see her article, so please don't ask when you're going to get that article. They use the scene with Daisy, who gives her the car ride to the bus stop, as a callback to young Rue, like remembering her life before all the drug problems and the chaos of the last few seasons, as she says she's curious about living a more exciting life, and Rue obviously wants the opposite of that. That is also a saying that a lot of people say in real life as well too, like we live in exciting times, but a lot of younger people in particular are saying that they wished in less exciting times because most of the exciting stuff that's happening right now in the real world is terrible stuff, like you hear about it non-stop. Kinda seems like the world is on fire. Would be nice if things were a little more chill for a while. When Daisy invites her to return in the spring to see the cow's baby, maybe they'll also pay that off by having Rue return in the spring. She actually talks about the Millers, this family, several times throughout the episodes. It just feels like too much of a coincidence, like maybe they'll try to pay that off in some positive way at the end of the season. Depending on whether or not you think that Zendaya's character Rue is going to have a happy ending, if that's even possible. The people on the bus that she recognizes are the same people who helped her unstick her car in the mud on the Mexican side of the border recently. So this is why it seems like they're old bros by the time she sees them, like, oh, you guys just helped me out big time. She returns to California at Lori's house, new place where she's living with her family, apologizing for the car, press F to pay respects to the car sitting on top of that fence still. With Lori adding the price of the car to the money that she still owes, that car probably isn't worth more than like $5,000, like it looked like a real piece of crap. She then launches into a large explainer for how she wound up in this situation becoming a mule. A couple years after they graduated high school, she ran up the massive debt to Lori with her mother flushing all of Lori's stash down the toilet.
$43,887,000.
She started out owing her $10,000, but the interest was 20% per month, and it's been 46 months, so the actual full debt is now $43,887,000, but being a total bro cuts her a deal saying that she only owes her $100,000 and has to become her mule to pay that debt off, or she's going to kill her. They also use this to explain the timeline too, that it's basically been about 4 years since the events of Season 2. We get a real big flashback with her to explain how this all plays out, her becoming a mule, with her in Mexico on one of the runs to get more supplies from the cartel. They treat this mostly for comedy too, with her trying to swallow all the bags using the KY jelly. To her credit, she does give it the old college try, like she really does try to do this a couple times, and she says that after the first few times, she got her friend Faye to share the load so that they could split it up between the two of them, and even then still seems like they struggle each time not to absolutely crap their pants, and it kind of seems like they fail at that every single time, like Faye totally craps her pants on the way back, Rue just about craps her pants. Even though it's really gross, the funny thing about this is that people do this in real life. Like there are a lot of mules in real life that have this similar problem, and it's also a danger too, in that even a small tear in even one of the bags will basically be a death sentence to whoever's doing this. It is also not a foolproof way of getting stuff past customs or dogs either. When they eventually do make it back, you notice that Faye did eventually crap her pants. The pet even starts licking the crap. Yikes. She's gonna need a couple of showers to get rid of that stink. Rue explains more backstory from the time jump. Fezco's house was raided and he started serving a 30-year life sentence, so he's in prison right now. Lori then moved in, went to business with her cousin Harley and his son Wayne, who now has the hots for her friend Faye. Generally, the vibe of the crew, though, is that they're a relatively dysfunctional but happy family. Like, it's very toxic happy, but they're kind of happy. Faye then gives Rue the idea that she can steal Wayne's money and make a run for it at some point, and it kind of sounds like she's trying to bait Faye to start a relationship with Wayne so that she can get closer to the safe and steal the money. While at the same time, she makes the deal to start working for Alamo. Like, she's really trying to get rid of Lori, so to speak, and it definitely seems like Lori is now on Alamo's shit list because of the fentanyl. So even though Rue is in the middle of a real bad situation, she's really trying to weasel her way out. She explains she started working Uber in her free time to earn extra money to pay off the debt even faster, which they also mostly use for a couple comedic scenes. The joke here about driving Batman to Robin and Wonder Woman down Hollywood Boulevard is that in real life, Hollywood Boulevard in this part of town, like on the stretch of Hollywood Boulevard in front of the Chinese theater, has a lot of impersonators who take pictures with tourists to earn money like this. So you find all kinds of superheroes here from all different genres, like Marvel, DC, all superheroes. James Gunn used it for a joke like this during Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and Andrew Garfield, for instance, in real life, even did a known Spider-Man cosplay joke. Zendaya also literally just filmed Spider-Man Brand New Day. She is a big character in a big superhero franchise. And behind her, you can also see the El Capitan Theater. I have been to many movie premieres at that theater. Disney owns it, so they use it to show both Disney movies regularly. Like, you can actually go buy a ticket to a movie there, but they also shut it down frequently to have their own special premieres for Disney projects or Disney TV shows. This also includes all the Star Wars TV shows, Marvel TV shows, all that stuff too.
I'm sorry, Gobot's killing his cousin.
She goes to see Lexi nearby, and they use this as an introduction to what's been happening with Lexi the last couple of years. She mentions that she checked on her sister Gia, too, who is at the top of her class. So, like, her sister seems like she's doing pretty decent. The LA Knights bag is meant to be for the nighttime soap opera TV show that Lexi works at, and when she lectures Rue about AI and automation taking Uber drivers' jobs, it's actually going to be many years before that actually happens. All the self-driving cars that you see people talk about online are secretly driven remotely by operators elsewhere around the world. There are very few actual cars that operate in truly automated ways with no human interaction at all. But at least right now, most of Hollywood and creatives are worried about AI taking their jobs, so it is a very hot topic at the moment, AI taking people's jobs. Rue thinking the Millers were so happy because they avoided all technology, like I said, another reference to her wanting to go back, like maybe it would be great to go back there because they don't have to deal with all these crazy problems. When Lexi makes the joke about them being a cult, like, oh, they're happy because they're in a cult, it's just a dig at organized religion. The Millers didn't seem like they were actually in a cult. They were just extremely devout people. Lexi makes it sound like she's either atheist or Jewish, the way that she talks poorly about Christians, but the actress Maud Apatow is Jewish in real life. Her father, Judd Apatow, is Jewish. Her working on a TV show feels like a big Nepo baby joke because she in real life is the textbook example of a Nepo baby. When they mention Fez in prison, it sounds like Lexi is avoiding him because she's so dedicated to her job, and it seems like she's trying to find a way to leave Fez behind, like move on with her life and past all that stuff from high school. We find out that her boss, Patty Lance, is played by Sharon Stone. Lexi's just seems like a low-level PA on the show, acting as an assistant, just like running stuff around, doing low-level stuff. They use this to jump to Cassie, who Rue dismissingly says has been living in a right-wing suburban bubble because of her life with Nate, about to get married to him, setting up this whole OnlyFans arc that she's on this season. There are many jokes about her trying to get famous on TikTok, basically every trope about every influencer you have ever seen. And even though Nate is rich, technically, the way they explain in the episode, all of his money is tied up in the construction business that he took over from his father, and a lot of that money is held up because of the way that building construction in the Los Angeles area is just absolutely terrible. So technically, Nate does not have all the money, or like the ton of money coming in that you think that he would have coming in. So part of the idea of this whole arc between the two of them, between Nate and Cassie, is they're trying to set up the idea that Cassie's OnlyFans is the solution to a lot of his problems, and he's going to have to get used to it, otherwise it's going to be the end of their relationship. And it kind of seems like the power dynamic between them in the relationship by the end of the episode completely shifts to her side, and she is now kind of the boss of the relationship. she will shortly be the breadwinner of the family. They filmed the most messed up montage of her filming new footage and releasing it on her page. Love the way that Nate catches her in the act here, like he just still can't believe it. He absolutely hates the whole idea of her doing stuff like this. You see it a lot in relationships where one of them doesn't like the other one being famous or getting famous for doing anything that even seems remotely like sex work. It never ends well for those kinds of relationships. It's always super toxic, which they definitely play up because this is Euphoria, and toxic relationships are the name of the game in this show. They also kind of make it sound like he has some weird kink where he gets off a little on her doing this kind of play, and it's super toxic between the two of them, just engaged in this doggy play with her, and it's just going to continue through the rest of the season. Her interest in all this, though, seems relatively superficial, like she seems weirdly obsessed with money and having the perfect wedding, like a $50,000 floral arrangement, and that will somehow make her life perfect. My assumption is that this storyline is relatively simple in the idea that the money that she will earn from this will not make her happy. Like, money does not make you happy, which is, it seems like she thinks she believes right now.
I've kind of actually been doing some research.
They use this to launch into the explainer for why Nate is not earning the money that he's supposed to be earning, that he says that he is earning, because building in Southern California is an absolute nightmare, and this is a thing in real life. Like, there's still portions in Malibu that were recently destroyed by the fire. In real life, it was a very terrible tragedy. But a lot of those areas have not been rebuilt yet because it's too difficult to get through the red tape and bureaucracy needed to actually start building. When he starts quoting environmental regulations and inspections, that's basically just riffing on real life problems, like it's a very real thing. But it seems like they're in a relatively expensive house. Nate drives both a Tesla Cybertruck, which isn't that expensive, and it seems like he also drives a McLaren, which is quite a bit more expensive. So they're basically spending a lot of cash. Like, they need money fast, and it sounds like the OnlyFans is the solution to those problems. We learn a little bit about his actual business, like where he's actually trying to earn money here with the Sun Settlers retirement home and his primary investor here giving this big speech about boomers dying. Rue and Lexi then tee up Maddie's return to the show, explaining what happened to Jules becoming a sugar baby. Sugar babies are a long-time tradition where younger girls, or sometimes dudes, are paid by older men, sometimes older women as well too, to be exactly what you think they are. They explained that Maddie is now working as a Hollywood manager, a lot of them working in Hollywood or adjacent to Hollywood because this is the Los Angeles area, so most of the people that work here are involved in the creative trade in some way. They're on a film set, and we find that one of Maddie's clients is Dylan Reed, who works on Lexi's soap opera, LA Nights, who it seems like she has a little bit of a crush on. We see them film one of their episodes. Lexi tries to give them a note. It's a good note showing that she does have some good creative talent, and it gets her on Dylan's good side. Maybe they'll bang at some point later this season. We'll see. But even though it seems like Maddie is doing a lot better than some of the other characters, we find out that her day-to-day is just being a low-level employee, typical desk job. Like, this is very typical real-world Hollywood type of manager job. And she is also paid like dirt. So basically, they're all kind of living on slave wages, living like slaves. Raise your hand in the background if you remember what it's like to live like that right after you graduate from college. Most people nowadays who are trying to earn a dollar and are able to get jobs are working for slave wages, and it takes a lot longer to actually break. There are a couple cool Easter eggs here. The theater where he gets paid to watch a movie and post about it like a regular influencer is on the Warner Brothers lot. They even screened the Superman trailer here last year and the Supergirl trailer more recently, other big trailers and big movies here for press, usually for special studio insider screenings. So if you are a member of the press, you've probably seen a Warner Brothers related movie in this theater at some point. Rue then meets her sponsor, Ali, and they talk about the family in Texas and her being lesbian, how Christianity views it as a sin, and starts to get really technical on the actual Bible. Like, no, it's okay for women because they only talk about men and men being bad. He tries to get her to take a step back and find a better perspective on belief and faith by reading through the actual Bible, which they pay off with like a funny joke about her starting to listen to the Bible on tape, and it's narrated by Michael York. You might recognize the voice. She goes to see Lori. Ironically, the secret entrance to her lab is inside a barn, reminding her of the cow in Texas, asking her to do a drop-off while Wayne tries to cozy up to Faye. We will see if Rue eventually does try to steal Wayne's money out of the safe. Then you notice the way they frame the camera with Wayne killing the chicken as she's getting into a car, implying that she's close to being killed too, which is meant to set up the moment with Alamo at the end of the episode where he almost does wind up killing her. And they basically use this whole last part of the episode to introduce Alamo, who's kind of like one of the antagonists of the season. The way he explains himself in the episode is that he's another big player in the Los Angeles area and that his money comes mostly from maybe human trafficking, selling women, but the legal face of his business are just regular strip clubs. But obviously there's way shadier stuff going on at those actual clubs, as Rue is probably about to find later this season. But at least before the shit hits the fan, the way they play this part of the episode, Rue feels like she's in heaven because there are women everywhere and she is a lesbian.
I'm so sorry.
She winds up convincing Alamo to hire her to work at his clubs, not as a dancer, but as a fixer, basically like as a do-it-all kind of person. We get a real brief shot of Cassie, who seems like she's low-key stalking Maddie on her Instagram, and they still hate each other. Makes dinner for Nate to butter him up about the OnlyFans, and then basically uses the conversation to turn the tables on him like the power dynamics have shifted, and she is basically in control now, holding the leash, metaphorically. Then we go back to Alamo's and find out that Tish overdosed on Lori's stash because it was cut with fentanyl, which is actually a problem in real life, and it's why you should never take random pills from anybody that offers them. Dealers do this all over the world all the time to save money, but it is extremely, extremely dangerous. Rue then talks faster than any human has talked before so that she can convince Alamo not to kill her, invoking God, and tells her whole life story and how she came to be a mule for Lori in the first place. For the most part, it seemed like Alamo and his men are mostly upset that she was just in high school. Like, did you just say high school? Like, that was the thing that gave them pause, not everything else. But she does convince Alamo to give her a chance, and the test is firing the apple off her forehead. Like, we'll see if God believes in you, and she passes. So it does seem like in this moment, she finally does believe in God for at least a brief second. But as they end the episode, big WTF moment, remember that Lori is now on Alamo's shit list, and he seems way more powerful, and it does seem like Rue is basically trying to make the jump to escape from Lori's thumb, and maybe also steal Wayne's money, so we will see what happens with that subplot. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below, and if you spotted any Easter eggs or references in the episode that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments, or if you have questions about the episode. What I'll do is just wait to see how this video performs, and if people like the series and me doing videos for it week to week, I will just continue through the rest of the season. There'll be 8 episodes total in the final season. Because this is happening on HBO, this is meant to take us right up to the beginning of House of the Dragon Season 3. So House of the Dragon Season 3 episodes will start after Euphoria Season 3 episodes. I literally just did a big House of the Dragon Season 3 trailer video a little while ago. Click here for that, and click here for all my Night of the Seven Kingdoms Season 2 videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.